Hello Algebra 1, welcome back. Today we are going to finish the note sheet that we started yesterday. So we are still on your Unit 10 Day 9 notes in your green packet. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to do 10, 11, 12, 14, and 15. Okay, we're going to do those together and then you'll have a Canvas quiz that you need to complete. All right, so the only difference between what we did yesterday and what we're doing today is that now we have an equal 0. So that means that we will actually have to solve these problems and we will end with x equals and we'll have our number of answers. Okay, so again, our first step is check, we have a number in front of x squared. In this case, it's a 4, and you'll want to see if 4 goes into each of your other numbers as well. So you can just use your calculator and divide those. Yep, we do get a number there that's not a decimal. I'll divide 176 by 4. Yep, both of those look good. So that means that 4 is a GCF, and I can divide that 4 out of each. So 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times 7x is 28x. And 4 times, I just divided this, it was a 44. Make sure you have your minus since it's a minus 176. And then don't forget to bring down your equal 0. Okay, so that's your step 1. Step 2 is to do your box problem with this new part in the parentheses. Never do it with the original part because you had that number in front, okay? So I'm going to do my setup, bring down my 4 in my parentheses. I'm also bringing down an equal 0. Now I'm going to multiply to negative 44. I'm going to add to 7. And that's going to be an 11 and a 4. But one of those will need to be negative, and it'll have to be the 4, because 11 minus 4 is 7. Okay, so I'll put x plus 11 and x minus 4. All right, so now's the easy part. Now we're going to do zero product property. So we learned last week that ZPP is when we just set each part equal to 0. Now see this 4 right here? If I set the 4 equal to 0, well, 4 isn't equal to 0. So I'm not going to do that. Only set the pieces that have an x equal to 0. Okay, and you must do each of these steps in this order or it will not work. So step 1, pull out your GCF. Step 2, do your box problem. Now step 3, we'll use zero product property. Okay, so set each part equal to 0, and then we'll solve. And we should x equals negative 11. And x equals 4. And again, these are representing the x-intercepts of your parabola, or the zeros of your parabola. Okay, so notice since there's an equal 0, we do actually go ahead and solve. You're going to get these answers as opposed to what we did yesterday. There was no equal sign, so we finished in our factored form. Okay, so we're just going to do these examples and then you're going to do your Canvas quiz. All right, next one. Number in front of x squared. All right, let's divide it out. Let's make sure it works. 51 divided by 3. Yep. 48 divided by 3. Yep. Okay, so we'll divide our 3 out. That's our GCF. X squared plus, it was 3 times 17 is 51. So 17x plus, and it was 3 times 16 is 48. Don't lose your equal 0. Okay, before I do my box problem, I'm just going to set this up here. I'm not going to lose my equal 0. So now I'm at the step where I'm finding my numbers, okay? So I'm going to multiply to 16, and I'm going to add to 17. And that's just going to be a 16 and a 1. Okay, so I'll fill that in. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3, I'm doing my zero product property. So again, only set what has an x equal to 0. And you do have to go in this order, okay? You can't skip any of these steps. And then we'll solve. Okay, and again, these values are representing the zeros of our parabola. So if you were to go ahead and graph this, you would get x-intercepts at negative 16 and negative 1. All right, on to number 12. So what you might notice is unique about this problem is that you don't have an equal 0. So we will need to fix that. We will go ahead and we will add our 66x over. And since it does have an x, it will need to go into the middle of our expression here. So we'll have 6x squared plus 66x plus 180. And now I have an equal 0 over here on the other side. So that was just an extra step that we had. Now we see, yes, we do have a number in front of x squared, and 6 does divide evenly into each of these numbers. You can divide them with your calculator if you would like to confirm. So I'm just dividing by that number in front. Okay, so that means that 6 is our GCF. And now we'll do our reverse distributive property step. 6 times x squared gives me 6x squared. And 6 times 11x gives me 66x, and 6 times, I believe it was 30, gives me 180. Okay, now we'll do our box problem. If you want, I always like to set it up first. That way I don't forget my equal 0, put my x's there. So then I only have to find my numbers. What multiplies to 30 and adds to 11? And that should be a 6 and a 5. And they should both be positives. And again, since we have that equal 0, we are going to solve now. So we'll set both parts equal to 0. And I'll get x equals -6. And oh, I didn't show my work. I'll show my work for this one. And x equals -5. Okay, and there you go. Flip it over, or actually don't flip it over. I'll just scroll down. We have 2 more. Number 14, again, we don't have an equal 0. That is an issue. We will subtract our 12 over. Okay, however, this is just a number. It doesn't have an x, so this will go at the end. 12 minus 12 is 0. We do have a number in front. 2 does go into each of these evenly, so I will go ahead and I will divide that out. So I have an x squared. 2 times what is 10x? That's 5x. 2 times what is 12? That's 6. I still have my equal 0. I'm going to set this up. Okay, notice it's very methodical. You're doing pretty much the same thing every time. The only difference is it's different numbers. Okay, so now we are multiplying to -6 and we are adding to -5. Will be a positive and a negative since we're multiplying to a negative. And it's actually not 3 and 2, it's going to be 6 and 1. And think about which one should be negative here. It should be the 6. Okay, and then don't forget to solve. Since you have that equal 0, you'll set everything with an x equal to 0. And add 6, add 6. Okay, and there are your 2 solutions. Last one. This one is a little different, and that's because you have an x cubed. Notice you already have an equal 0. We don't need to move anything over. However, you not only have a 2 in front, but you do have that x cubed. Each of these terms have an extra x. So what that means is it's not just a 2 that's coming out, it's going to be a 2x. Okay, this is a very special case. I just am introducing it to you. So when you do 2x times something is 2x cubed, there's your x squared. Okay, 26 divided by 2 is 13. So this will be plus 13x, right? Because 2 times 13 is 26, and x times x is x squared. Plus 2 times what is 60? Just 30. And you already have 2x times 30 is 60x. Okay, so bring down your 2x. Now we're going to do our box problem. Okay. And we are multiplying to 30, and we are adding to 13. and that will be a 10 and a 3. Positives. All right, now here's the other difference. Remember I told you that you're only going to set things with x equal to 0? Well, look, this 2 has an x now, so you are going to set it equal to 0. We're actually going to have 3 solutions for this problem. Okay, which means this actually isn't a parabola. It would look something like this, like a swirl. Your highest exponent will tell you how many solutions you have. So see how over here it was x squared? That means you're going to have 2 answers generally. X cubed, you're going to have 3. Now we'll go ahead and solve. We'll just divide by 2 on both sides. You'll get an x equals 0. Subtract 10 on both sides. I think we did a little like this last week with the solving. This is not the most important type of problem. I just wanted to introduce it to you. Okay, so there you go. You have 3 answers. What we're going to focus on mostly for your quiz are problems like number 10 and 11, where they're already set up for you. You just need to pull out your GCF and solve. Okay, so now you'll go ahead and do your Canvas quiz, and tomorrow we will be reviewing, and then you will have a quiz on Friday on this new material. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions.